Welcome back. You're still watching Newsfeed PM, the late edition. So the township economy in the G20 Business Council has officially been launched in Soweto today. Millions rely on the sector, of course, which is estimated to be worth around 100 billion rand. Can you believe it? Well, TECSA President Mr. Bheki Twala joins us here in studio. Mr. Twala, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure chatting to you. The 1st of December, an incredibly important day, right? And we were talking about this before the ad break. Is essentially today, South Africa takes over presidency of the G20. Massive responsibility that we've got going into 2025. And today you did some work to realize that even in those G20 discussions, the township economy isn't forgotten.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Good evening, Sister Lady, and good evening to the viewers at home. We're very excited to be here today. Today we've launched the Township Economy in G20 Business Council. We had a full house in Soweto, Orlando West at Vilakazi Street. The whole purpose of the event was to unpack what is G20, what it means to the township economy, because we want to make sure that the township economy is not left behind. Yeah. If you can remember last year, on the 15th of August, we've hosted the BRICS for the first time, having the BRICS being hosted in the township, even before the BRICS summit. Now we then said, we've learned, from that. Then we're saying we need to make sure that the township economy is also not left behind in the G20.
I want to hear about those lessons because, and you're so correct. When we talk about G20, we think about all the opportunities that are going to come with it for South Africa. But how is it that the township economy benefits? A really important question. What did we learn from BRICS around whether or not we got that right? Did we have the right conversations? Did the township economy fall through the cracks there?
Yeah, we started when we had an event in Soweto on the 15th of August. We had a beautiful plan. But when the actual event was happening, we were left behind. For example, I'll make an example. We were not part of the, the BRICS in Russia. We were left behind. But what we are saying, remember in Brazil, this year in the G20, Brazil brought in the favelas into the G20, which is favelas, it's the same as townships. Now we want to say, and calling on the president and the people that are organizing, the G20 to say, let's make sure that township is not left behind. What is exciting about it? Today we were launching what we call the G20 Township Economy Working Streams, work committees. Yes. And then we had about 20 of them. But remember, Sipagamisu 20. Yes. We are saying anything that we're doing, we identify the 20 biggest townships that will be making sure that we take the experience of the G20, taking them into the township. We're making sure that the township is not left behind, but also we have the working streams like your township tourism economy, your township manufacturing economy, because we want all those investors to come and see the potential that the township has, so that at the end of the day, they come back and invest in the township. And
is that working, the investment into township economies?
Not yet, but we are saying, remember, we often say, only the pot that knows how hot the fire is. Yeah. Meaning us as the township businesses, we know what are the challenges in the township and we've got solutions to the township. This is why we always call the government to say, government, come and speak to us on the township. So that at the end of the day, when we talk about the township economy, it's a very big economy. Now, that economy, it can't be ignored. And we don't want people just to talk about township economy, sitting somewhere and then design programs and want to force them in the township. That is why those programs, they get the pushback. It doesn't happen. The issue of industrialization of the townships, so that at the end of the day, as township people, and as we talk about township economy, we also produce what we consume. Yeah. We just want to make sure that the township is also being industrialized.
There's such a big debate of late around the registration of spaza shops and whether or not that's going to be beneficial to the township economy. And I'm keen to hear your thoughts on that. And even in this G20 township economy discussion that you had today, if that, I can imagine having come up.
Yeah, no, it did. Yeah. As the township businesses, we welcome the registration of the township spaza shops. We've been calling for the formalization of the township. Because you remember, when you talk about an economy that worth about 150 to 180 billion rand, just puzzle shops, that economy needs to move from the informal economy to the formal economy. Now, how does it move to the formal economy? By making sure that we register, those puzzle shops. We welcome the 21 days. We are calling for people to register, go to the municipal offices, register. Let's see when we reach the 13th of December how many puzzle shops will be registered, but we make sure that at the end of the day we're taking, or we're reclaiming what belongs to us.
Yeah. 2024 is coming, and the G20 summit going to be taking place here in Johannesburg. The opportunities that you foresee for some of the townships that you say you have identified as some of your 20 to bring people in to come and take a look at the economy that's being built in that township. But what do those opportunities look like when we get into next year during that particular summit?
No, the opportunities is was. Remember, this whole thing is twofold. We want to provide services to those events. I think we've got about 280, if I'm not mistaken, of events that will be happening. But we're also curating our own events in the townships. Because at the end of the day, we're saying we can't just rely on the events that are organized by government and ministries, but we, as townships, we also need to invite our own people from the favelas, from the slums, to come and have those activities happening in the township. We're saying the opportunity is it's very big for the township. That is why we're calling for the township businesses to start understanding how big the G20 is. Remember the G20, it's more like your corporate World Cup.
Yeah.
We need to create that excitement. This is why, as the township in G20 Business Council, we want to start looking at that. We've also appointed, the ambassador, and then we've also coming up with the mascot, and then we're coming up with the face. We want the people to start understand and feeling the vibe.
Yeah.
We were supposed to feel the vibe by now, but unfortunately the vibe is not there. But as the township economy in G20, we're creating that vibe.
There's always going to be the issue around how we legislate in the township and how we deal with township businesses. And with this puzzle shop saga as it's been playing out, do you believe that we would have gotten to the end of it by the time we get to next year?
That's what we're trying to push.
Yeah.
Because remember, when we're hosting visitors, some of the things must be corrected. We must make sure that the township businesses, the puzzle shop, are running smooth. And then we are saying to government, the laws are there, the acts are there. All what we need, we just need to enforce the bylaws and make sure that those rules and regulations, are observed, and people they adhere to those rules and regulations, making sure that people they run their businesses proper. But remember, Naledi, when you're hosting visitors, we need to clean up your house, make sure the houses look beautiful, so that visitors they don't see things that they don't need to see.
Yeah.
Now, as townships, we need to make sure that at the end of the day, we are ready to host the visitors. Remember, we're hosting the 20 richest countries in the world.
Yeah, that's powerful.
We need to make sure that we are ready. All what we are appealing to the township and the township businesses, let's get ourselves in order. Let's, get our room in order, make sure that we are ready to host. Most especially we need to explore, the tourism space in the township.
And I think there's something to be said about the importance of township businesses also being organized, Mr. Twala, right? And talk to me about how TECSA then, or TECSA brings some of them together. So you're speaking now to a business owner in a township and you say to them, what is it that they need to do to be part of TECSA and, of course, continue to leverage off of those opportunities?
Remember, government always say, when they go to the township, they don't know who to speak to.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of organizations and forums that are in the township. But we've managed to organize ourselves as the organized business formations. That is why we are now saying we've got the voice that represents the township. We need government to speak to that voice. Because as we say, most of the businesses, they trust the voice that is there. Now, we are also encouraging our businesses to do things the right way. Make sure that your house is in order, your papers are there, you've registered, you run a proper business. But one mistake that we don't need to do, remember township economy, it's 60% formal and 40% informal. We can't then formalize the informal. All what we need to do, we need to professionalize it. make sure that at the end of the day, whatever that is happening in the informal economy, but it's professionalized.
Yes.
So that we know when you get into, or when you buy something from the street vendor, from those mamas in schools that are selling outside, the packaging of the products that they are selling, the way they store them, the way they transport them from home to school, it's professional. All what you're saying, let's professionalize the informal economy.
Yeah, and improve businesses that, for the most part in townships have raised us and continue to do so. I speak as a product of a township business myself. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Bheki Twala. An absolute pleasure. It's called Bheki Twala.
Thank you very much.
Because the president of TECSA is speaking to us. And of course, 2025 going to be an important year. How is it that township businesses will leverage? We'll be chatting about that, of course, as we get into that year.